On a quiet morning in Seattle, everything seemed perfectly normal. The city was waking up, the streets were bustling, and life was continuing as usual. But little did anyone know, a dark storm was brewing in the life of one man, Travis Decker, a father, a soldier, a man struggling with the weight of his past. He was about to make a decision that would not only shatter his own life, but devastate those closest to him. What started as a simple, court-ordered visit with his daughters would soon spiral into a tragedy so horrifying that it would grip the entire nation. But who is Travis Decker? What drives a man to commit such an unimaginable act? Was it a momentary lapse in judgment, or was there something far darker lurking inside? The answers lie hidden in the shadows of a man torn between the ghosts of his past and the horrifying choices he would make for the future. On the morning of May 30th, 2020, everything seemed ordinary in the city of Seattle. The city, known for its thick tree-lined streets and cloudy skies, was preparing for another day. But at that moment, in a quiet neighborhood far from the city's bustle, a man named Travis Decker was heading out with his three daughters, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. No one knew that these seemingly simple moments in a regular family outing would become the beginning of an unimaginable tragedy. What was supposed to be just another family visit, a court-mandated day for a father and his children, quickly spiraled into one of the most horrific cases to shake American society. The moment Travis left with his daughters, no one knew that this car ride would lead to a horrifying crime that would echo for years. But who was Travis Decker? What pushed him to make this choice? Was it just a fleeting moment, or was there something dark lurking behind it all? Why did he carry that suffocating pain in his heart, leading him to the worst decision of his life? These are the questions everyone would keep asking until the very end. Travis Decker was born in Seattle in 1993. Raised in a simple family, nothing about his childhood screamed extraordinary. His father was strict, his mother kinder, but both carried the weight of expectations for their son. As Travis grew up, he started to feel like he needed to prove himself. He wanted to be more than just an ordinary person in this world. At 18, Travis made a life-altering decision to join the U.S. Army. He was driven by the belief that being a soldier would define him, would make him someone worthy of admiration. But what he didn't know was that the war he chose would change everything. The wars would leave marks deeper than he could ever imagine, marks that would never heal. Years of combat in the field turned Travis into someone else, not just physically scarred, but emotionally fractured. He didn't return to Seattle the same way he left. He came back with invisible wounds, with a soul that had been shattered. But when he returned, life as he knew it was no longer the same. He tried to settle back into civilian life, but nothing felt right. The memories, the trauma, the guilt, they haunted him. And no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't seem to escape it. Travis tried to rebuild his life. He remarried Jenny, and they began to form a family. For a while, everything seemed like it could work. The birth of their three daughters, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, was supposed to be the turning point. He thought that the love for his children would be enough to heal his wounds. But there was a problem. Travis couldn't escape the war. The pain from it had become too much to bear. He tried to be a good father, but something inside him was slipping. The more time passed, the more he distanced himself. He loved his daughters, but he didn't know how to love them the way they needed. He didn't know how to show affection without pushing them away. Jenny tried to be understanding, but the tension was growing between them. Travis became a shell of the man he once was. The pain, the anger, the feeling of being trapped in his own life, it all weighed down on him. Every day felt like a battle he didn't want to fight anymore. The relationship with Jenny started to crumble. They couldn't hold it together. The pressure of family life became too much, and so they parted ways. On May 30th, 2025, everything appeared normal. Travis was simply taking his daughters for a short trip, something routine. The court had arranged it, and it was supposed to be a chance for him to spend time with his children. But little did anyone know that this ordinary day would turn into something far darker than anyone could imagine. The girls were excited. Evelyn chatted excitedly about their upcoming time with Dad, while Olivia clutched a new toy in her hands. Peyton smiled, her innocent face lighting up the car, as if she were saying goodbye to the world with her youthful enthusiasm. But the day would not end as expected. The hours passed. Travis didn't return. The clock ticked, and everything started to feel off. The phone calls went unanswered. Anxiety began creeping in. At first, it seemed like a small delay, just a little longer than expected. But as the hours wore on, something darker started to seep through. Something wasn't right. As night fell, the truth slowly began to sink in. This wasn't just a delay. This was something much more sinister. By the time the police were notified, things were already spiraling. Where was Travis? Where were the girls? Days passed. Everyone was on edge. The search intensified, but no one could have predicted what was coming. On June 2nd, the news broke. The bodies of the 3 girls were found in a remote area near Lake Kolchak. The discovery was chilling. The crime scene was gruesome. The girls had been strangled with plastic bags and zip ties. It was as if Travis had planned this moment with terrifying precision. Carrying out the act was disturbing calmness. The coldness of the crime was unnerving. But the questions began to arise. Why? What drove him to this? Was it a momentary loss of control, or had this been meticulously planned? What could possibly push a father to take such an irreversible step? As the investigation unfolded, new evidence came to light. Travis had been researching ways to escape. His online activity revealed that he had been looking into ways of fleeing to Canada. It wasn't just a random act of violence. This was a planned escape. Travis, with his military background, knew how to survive in the wilderness. He knew how to vanish, and that's exactly what he did. While the police were closing in on him, Travis was staying one step ahead, moving through the vast, rugged terrain of the Pacific Northwest. The search was on. The authorities were desperately trying to track his movements. But with every lead, Travis seemed to slip away further into the wilderness. The manhunt stretched on, and each day brought new challenges in locating him. As the manhunt for Travis Decker gained media attention, it became a nationwide obsession. News outlets covered every new detail, and the story spread like wildfire. Everyone was asking the same question. Could the authorities catch him? Was there still time to find him before he escaped to Canada? The reward for any information that could lead to his capture grew larger and larger, and the media coverage became relentless. With every passing hour, the pressure mounted on both the authorities and the public. Travis had become a fugitive, a name that everyone knew, but no one could find. But no one could have predicted just how elusive he would be. Despite the vast search efforts, Travis seemed to always be a step ahead. What could drive someone to do what Travis Decker did? The psychological analysis of his behavior suggested that Travis had been deeply affected by his experiences in the military. PTSD had taken root in his mind, distorting his perceptions and his ability to process emotions in a healthy way. But was PTSD the only reason for his actions? Travis had always been an individual driven by the need to prove himself. In the military, he had seen death, violence, and horror. But what happened when he returned home? Was he able to escape the darkness that followed him from the battlefield? Or did that darkness swallow him whole? His descent into violence seemed to stem from a culmination of emotional turmoil, an inability to cope with his trauma, and perhaps something more, an unraveling of his own identity. Travis Decker's story doesn't end with the discovery of the bodies. It doesn't end with his flight into the wilderness or even the manhunt. It ends with more questions than answers. Was he a victim of the psychological scars left by war, or was there something more deeply wrong within him? The case remains open, and many of the questions still linger. Was Travis Decker simply a man who cracked under pressure? Or did his actions reveal something far darker, something lurking inside all along? In the end, the mystery of Travis Decker, the man who seemed so ordinary but carried such unimaginable darkness, will leave us wondering about the true nature of evil and the fragility of the human mind.